The rainforest did not give up its secrets easily. It never had. Mist clung low to the forest floor like something alive, drifting slowly between the roots of towering trees that had stood longer than memory. The air was thick, so thick it seemed to press against the lungs, and every breath carried the scent of damp earth, decaying leaves, and something older, something deeper. Life hummed everywhere, layered and relentless. Insects buzzed in shifting frequencies. Distant birds cried out in sharp, echoing bursts. Somewhere high above, unseen creatures moved through the canopy, their presence betrayed only by the trembling of leaves. And yet, beneath it all, there was another feeling. A quiet. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of something watching. Dr. Elias Vannier paused at the edge of a narrow forest trail, his hand resting lightly against the trunk of a moss-covered tree. Sweat traced slow lines down his temple, but he didn't wipe it away. He had learned quickly that unnecessary movement here only wasted energy. Strange place, he murmured, almost to himself. Behind him, Rika Korain stopped as well. She did not look at him. Her gaze moved instead through the trees, scanning, not nervously, but with familiarity. With recognition. "It is not strange," she said quietly. "It is simply not yours." Elias exhaled softly. He had been warned about that tone before arriving, the quiet certainty of someone who understood this forest in ways he never could. And yet, that was exactly why he was here. Months earlier, the message had come in fragments. A photograph. A short note. A name he barely recognized. At first, he thought it was a mistake. Then he saw the image. A small creature, perched delicately on a branch. Fur striped faintly along its body. Eyes wide and reflective. And most striking of all, one elongated finger, impossibly long, reaching forward like something designed for a purpose science had long forgotten. Elias had stared at that photo for nearly an hour. Because he knew exactly what it was supposed to be. And it wasn't supposed to exist. The journey to the Bird's Head Peninsula had taken days. From the sterile halls of the Australian Museum Research Institute to the humid chaos of Jakarta, and then farther, into smaller plains, rougher landings, and finally, into a world where roads dissolved into narrow paths and maps lost their authority. By the time Elias reached the village at the edge of the Tambrau forests, he felt as though he had crossed not just distance, but time. That was where he first met Rika. She had been waiting for him. "You are late," she said simply when he arrived, though he had come exactly when expected. "I had delays," he replied, adjusting the strap of his pack. "There are always delays," she said. "But the forest does not wait." That had been the beginning. Now, standing within that forest, Elias understood what she meant. Every step they took felt like trespassing, not in the legal sense, but in something older. The trees rose impossibly high, their trunks thick with age, their branches weaving together to form a canopy that swallowed the sky. Light filtered through in fractured beams, illuminating patches of green before vanishing again into shadow. "Are we close?" Elias asked. Rika tilted her head slightly, listening, not to him, but to the forest. "Yes," she said after a moment. "But you will not see it if you are only looking." Elias frowned. "What does that mean?" She finally glanced at him, her expression unreadable. "It means you must learn to notice what the forest allows you to notice." He opened his mouth to respond, but stopped. Because suddenly, the forest had changed. The sounds shifted, not disappearing, but rearranging themselves. The buzzing softened. The distant calls grew faint. And in that subtle rearrangement, something else emerged. A faint rustle. Above them. Elias froze. "Did you hear?" "Yes," Rika said, already stepping forward. She moved with quiet precision, her feet finding stable ground without hesitation. Elias followed, less gracefully, his boots sinking slightly into damp earth. The rustle came again. Closer now. Elias raised his head slowly, scanning the branches overhead. At first, he saw nothing. Just leaves. Shadows. Layers of green blending into one another. Then, movement. A small shape shifted along a branch, so subtle it might have been missed entirely. Elias's breath caught. "Wait," he whispered, reaching for the camera slung around his neck. But Rika raised a hand. "Do not rush it." The shape paused. Then, slowly, it turned. And in that moment, everything Elias thought he understood about extinction, about time, about the finality of disappearance, collapsed. The creature was real. Palm-sized. Delicate. Its fur a muted blend of browns and faint stripes. Its eyes large, reflecting the dim light with an almost unnatural clarity. And its finger. That impossibly long finger extended forward, probing the bark of the tree with careful, deliberate movements. Elias felt his pulse hammering in his chest. "It's," he whispered, unable to finish. Rika nodded once, yes. The pygmy long-fingered possum. Dactylonax cambrai. A species known only from fossils. A species believed extinct for over 6,000 years. And yet, here it was. Alive. Elias fumbled slightly as he lifted his camera, his hands trembling despite years of field experience. "Careful," Rika said softly. "It does not trust easily." "I don't blame it," Elias replied under his breath. He adjusted the focus slowly, ensuring no sudden movements. The lens zoomed in, capturing every detail, the texture of the fur, the delicate curve of its claws, the strange elegance of that elongated finger. He pressed the shutter. The click sounded louder than it should have. The creature froze. For a moment, it did not move at all. Then, in a blur of motion, it vanished into the dense foliage above. Elias lowered the camera slowly, exhaling. "Did you get it?" Rika asked. He checked the screen. And there it was. Clear. Undeniable. "I got it," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Rika smiled faintly. "It has been here all along." That night, the forest felt different. They had returned to a temporary camp near the edge of a small clearing. The air was cooler now, though still heavy with moisture. A small fire crackled between them, its light pushing back the darkness just enough to create the illusion of safety. Elias sat cross-legged, staring at the image on his camera again and again. "It shouldn't be possible," he said. Rika did not respond immediately. She was focused on something else, carefully arranging leaves near the fire, her movements deliberate. "Why?" she asked finally. "Because extinction doesn't work like this," Elias said. "Species don't just disappear from the record and then reappear thousands of years later." Rika glanced at him. "Or perhaps," she said, "you simply stopped looking." Elias frowned. "That's not how science works." "And yet," she said, gesturing toward the forest, "It is here." He hesitated. Because she wasn't wrong. The next morning, they went deeper. Far deeper than Elias had expected. The terrain grew steeper, the vegetation denser. Vines hung in thick clusters, forcing them to navigate carefully. The air grew warmer, heavier, as though the forest itself resisted their presence. "Where are we going?" Elias asked. Rika did not slow. "To find two." The name lingered in the air. Elias had heard it before, during the early reports, in quiet conversations among researchers. 2. The ring-tailed glider. Another impossibility. Another species thought lost to time. "Have you seen it before?" he asked. Rika nodded. "Yes." "And?" She paused, turning slightly toward him. "It is not like the others." Elias felt a flicker of unease. "What do you mean?" Rika studied him for a moment, as if deciding how much to say. "Some animals live in the forest," she said slowly. "And some," she added, "belong to it." They reached the ridge just before dusk. From there, the forest stretched endlessly in every direction, a vast, unbroken sea of green fading into the horizon. Elias stepped forward, taking in the view. "It's incredible," he said. "Yes," Rika replied. "And fragile." He nodded. "I know." But even as he said it, he realized something. He didn't truly understand. Not yet. As darkness settled over the forest, the sounds returned, louder now, more layered. Night creatures emerged, their movements weaving through the shadows. Elias adjusted his equipment, setting up quietly. "Stay still," Rika said. "And listen." He did. Minutes passed. Then, a shape glided through the darkness. Silent. Effortless. Elias's breath caught as it landed softly on a nearby branch. Larger than the possum. Its eyes glowed faintly in the low light. A thin membrane stretched between its limbs, folding neatly as it settled. And its tail. Curled, prehensile, gripping the branch with ease. 2. Alive. Watching. Elias felt something shift inside him, not just awe, but something deeper. Something that felt like standing at the edge of time itself. "We thought you were gone," he whispered. The creature blinked slowly. As if it had been waiting.